I get a lot of questions about Miranda and when rights are supposed to be read and when they're not necessary. This is a two-step process that we call custodial interrogation. I call it the police two-step because two things actually have to happen before they have to read you your rights. So let me read to you what the actual definition of custodial interrogation is. Okay, so custodial interrogation occurs when law enforcement questions a person who is in custody or otherwise deprived of freedom of action in a significant way, and the questioning is reasonably likely to elicit an incriminating response. Here's the first part: custody. Custody is when you are not free to leave. This means formal arrest, handcuffs, you're in a locked room, being surrounded or controlled in a way a reasonable person would feel not free to walk away. That's what custody is. But remember, just because you're in custody does not mean they have to read Miranda. That is the first part. The second part of the trigger to Miranda is interrogation. Direct questioning. Words or actions police should know are likely to incriminate you. Words or questions that the police would ask that you know would incriminate you, or that they know will incriminate you. Hey man, tell the truth. You know whose gun this is. You've seen this gun before. Is this yours? With these two, with custody and interrogation, you trigger Miranda. At that point, it's the police two-step because the police know these two steps have to be together when Miranda is read. Both of these have to take place at the same time. The average layperson does not. So when you are being questioned or when you feel that they are trying to put you in custody, the question is, am I free to go or am I being detained? That way, you don't answer questions that is going to get you detained. And here's how the situation works. It usually works backwards for police officers. You don't end up in custody first. You end up interrogated first. But because they're doing it outside of custody, it will not trigger Miranda. So they warm it up in a way that you don't really see it coming. So you're in a situation, you're talking to the police, and they're not going to make it seem or sound like an interview. They're not going to make it look harmful. They're going to say things like, you're not under arrest. Hey man, just help me understand the situation. Well, they'll say, this is off the record. If anybody in this audience believes that police talk to you off the record, come on, man. We've learned enough to know that that's not true, right? So they never talk to you off the record. They just want you to talk because they need you to say certain words that moves it to the next point. Just help me understand it, man. Just help me understand. Tell me something. Help me understand. You, the investigator, start investigating. I don't know. If you don't know, I don't know. Because if you start talking, they're listening for certain keywords, like a YouTube algorithm. They're just looking for keywords, key phrases. Did you know the guy? So how long were you over there? Well, I was only there for 10 minutes. Okay, so now you just put yourself at the scene. Do you know whose gun it is for real? Yeah, man, it's my homeboy's gun. Okay, so you now got knowledge of the situation. So you're going to be talked to as if it's just a conversation. Hey, man, we're just trying to get some information. We're not interested in you. We just want to know what's going on. And as soon as you say that magic phrase, those keywords, it goes to the next step. Now you're in custody. All right, well, stay right here, man. I'll be right back. Well, yeah, this guy says that this is okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, man, turn around and put your hands behind your back. What happened? What's going on? You just said you knew whose gun it was. You just said you were there. You just said you had information. We finna hold on to you. At the same time, those two things trigger Miranda. You have the right to remain silent. Now, the problem with Miranda and the police two-step is it operates backwards. People usually talk before the police read their rights and say, you have the right to remain silent. And the guy's like, man, I wish I knew that 10 minutes ago. You always have the right to remain silent. Always. You always have the right to have no knowledge. You always have the right to say, am I being detained? You always have the right to ask questions. Police hate them, which we'll cover in another video, but they don't like when you ask questions. Hey man, what's going on? Why'd you pull me over? Why are you questioning my son? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? If you start talking before Miranda says you have the right to remain silent, chances are they've already got what they want. And what they got now is you. You have to understand both sides of this: interrogation and custody. Most people get one part of it, custody. And then they say, my rights weren't read to me. Understanding custody and interrogation, but understand silence as well. Understand that there are no off-the-record conversations with police officers. When you speak to a police officer, it's always on the record. When they question you, it's always an investigation. And when you're in custody, they generally have the information that they want by the time they tell you you had the right to remain silent.